When we speak of lust, it is often glamorized as passion, freedom, or even vitality. But beneath its glossy mask lies a parasite that feeds not only on the body but on the soul. Lust, when unchecked, is not creation, it is consumption. It takes, but it rarely gives. And in its hunger, it erodes the very foundations of what makes us human: authenticity, depth, clarity, and love. Lust erodes authentic connection. The promise of lust is intimacy, but its reality is distance. When desire dominates, people cease to see each other as whole beings. The other person becomes an object, a means to satisfy hunger, not a soul to meet in genuine connection. Think of two people who meet under the flame of lust. At first it feels intoxicating. Their words are light, their touch is electric, their hearts racing. But if lust is the sole foundation, the fire burns itself out. After the intensity fades, they often find nothing left: no respect, no true bond, only the ghost of temporary pleasure. This is the first cost, the illusion of closeness that hides a deeper loneliness. Lust is a mask that disguises emptiness as intimacy. 2. The hunger that never ends. Unlike love, which fulfills, lust consumes endlessly. It promises satisfaction, but every indulgence leaves a greater void. Carl Jung described this as the shadow's hunger, a craving rooted in the unconscious, not the heart. The shadow wants more not because it needs more, but because it can never be satisfied. The person trapped in lust is like Tantalus in Greek mythology, forever thirsty, forever reaching for water yet never able to drink. The more they consume, the more enslaved they become. Because lust does not soothe, it amplifies. 3. Lust dulls the soul. One of the most hidden consequences of lust is the way it dulls inner sensitivity. At first, desire feels sharp, intense, alive. But over time, the overindulgence numbs the soul. What once seemed thrilling becomes ordinary, and the search for novelty begins. People chase extremes, illusions, fantasies, anything to feel again. But this is the tragedy. In chasing more, they feel less. What was once alive becomes mechanical, compulsive, empty. Lust robs us of depth because it reduces life to surfaces and sensations. 4. Lust makes you easy to control. This is why rulers, marketers, and manipulators have always weaponized lust. Empires fall not just by swords, but by seduction. When a man cannot master his desire, others will master him through it. From the courtesans of ancient Rome to the advertisements of today, lust has always been the golden chain used to enslave minds. In our time, social media and consumer culture amplify this. The constant flood of images, bodies, and suggestions is not accidental, it is design. A distracted, desiring population is easier to control than a disciplined, self-aware one. 5. The death of meaning. Lust kills not with a dagger but with erosion. Slowly, it strips meaning away from sacred things. Love becomes just chemistry. Intimacy becomes transaction. Even beauty itself is reduced to appetite. When everything becomes about desire, nothing is sacred anymore. And without the sacred, life feels flat, gray, and meaningless. This is why those who live in lust often confess to a kind of spiritual emptiness, a hollowness, that no amount of pleasure can fill. Because lust promises paradise but delivers wastelands. 6. Stories and myths that warned us. Human history has always told stories about the cost of lust. In the Epic of Gilgamesh, the great king's power begins to fade when he is consumed by desire, showing that even the mighty can be weakened by it. In the Bible, Samson loses his strength not to armies but to lust for Delilah. His downfall was not force, it was seduction. In Dante's Inferno, the lustful are forever tossed about by stormy winds, symbolizing the way desire never rests, never roots, never finds peace. Every culture, every age, warned us. Lust may sparkle like gold, but it leads to chains. 7. The personal cost. When you give yourself over to endless appetite, you lose sovereignty over your own will. You are no longer master of your desires, they master you. And when this happens, shame creeps in. People often confess to feeling hollow, guilty, or fractured after succumbing to cycles of lust. This shame in turn feeds the shadow, creating a loop of indulgence and self-loathing. Thus, lust is not just a fleeting act, it becomes a cycle of self-destruction. Each indulgence chips away at identity, freedom, and dignity. 8. The hidden lesson. And yet there is a paradox. Lust destroys, yes, but it also teaches. For those who reflect, who dare to look at themselves honestly, lust becomes a mirror. It reveals what we crave, what we fear, what we hide. Carl Jung would say, until you make the unconscious conscious, It will rule your life and you will call it fate. Lust shows us the chains we carry. It exposes our wounds. It confronts us with our own shadow. And in this confrontation lies the possibility of transformation. If love frees us by union, lust can free us by awakening if we dare to face it, not indulge it. Survey conclusion. The price of fire. Lust is not evil by itself. Fire is not evil either, but fire can warm or destroy depending on how it is used. Unchecked, lust costs us connection, meaning, dignity, and freedom. It hollows out the soul until nothing remains but hunger. It makes us slaves to others, prisoners of appetite, wanderers lost in emptiness. But if we confront it, if we see its illusions, its costs, its roots, then lust becomes a teacher. It shows us where we are weak and where we must grow strong. It shows us the hollow so that we may seek the whole. In the end, the cost of lust is great, but so is the wisdom gained when we choose to master it, instead of letting it master us.